Hey fam, welcome back. It is your favorite life and relationship strategist. I am your girl MarshaunO, and guess what, y'all? Sometimes I make videos to speak directly to myself because I need the reminder, and I also want to share this experience and knowledge with you as well. Guess what, y'all? Today is one of those days. Today is one of those type of videos that I need to remind myself of some of these things that I'm about to talk about. So I know you already seen the title. Yes, we're talking about the marital myths. Some of the things that we actually think are going to just be fabulous all the time in our relationship, specifically in our marriage, because it's something about saying I do that it seems that things no longer flow as smoothly and as easily as they did before you said those two words, I do. It's something about saying I do that makes the relationship so much more serious for most of the time it's the other party. Okay, can we just be real? But anyway, 7 marital myths for you and me as well. The very first thing that we need to think about is it's a myth to think that your relationship is always going to remain in the honeymoon stage. That is an absolute myth. It is your relationship cannot last on just being the in love stage. It is also a time when you find out that your spouse is not the picture, the perfect picture of perfection that you once thought that he or she was. They are not perfect. And so you start to see this once you say I do, and now the real relationship has started to ensue. The fantasy begins to fade as to who you thought your partner was. Yes, the fantasy fades, the in love stage. At some point, it's going to fade. And the research really is kind of all over the board with this. Some people say 3 months. Some people say, 6 months. Some people say up to 2 years. So it really is kind of all over the board when it does fade. But what we do know that is true is that the honeymoon stage, the love that's within the honeymoon stage, does fade away eventually. And what we talk about, them rose-colored glasses, we got to take those off so we can see exactly who our spouse is and who they've been showing us that they are. But because we were so overjoyed and filled with all of this love, we didn't see it, or we just ignored it. And now these things are starting to show up in a way that it's bothering you. All right, so that's actually what's happening. Now these things that have been there the entire time are now starting to show up, and now they're starting to bother you about your spouse. Now you're wondering, did he actually chew that loud before? Was he that rude before? Did he say X, Y, and Z? And then obviously you can insert the word she there as well, right? Equal opportunity here on this channel, okay? So please understand that. So again, the honeymoon phase will fade at some point. The next thing is marital expectations will automatically align. They will automatically match up, and that is just not true. If you think that your spouse is a mind reader and will know exactly how to treat you, they will know exactly what surprises you, they will know exactly how to keep you happy in the relationship. If you have never shared these things with your spouse, they will never know. And guess what? You are living in the fantasy world that they will just automatically know what you need in order to feel happy, in order to feel blessed, in order to feel welcome, in order to feel needed in the relationship. They will not just know that. You have to share that with them. And another marital expectation is just that things are going to just literally flow in the relationship. He is just going to know. She is just going to know that I want my coffee in the morning. And this is especially true for those of you who did not live together prior to you saying I do. You're not going to just know. You guys have to get into that stage where you do know one another, and right now you just don't know one another. Now you're getting to learn and really experience who your partner truly is day in and day out, from the time you guys go to sleep to the time you guys wake up. And all the farts that they do, the burping, the hitting. Listen, my husband be smacking me in my sleep because his arm just all of a sudden come over, and I'm like, ugh! and I'm a light sleeper. So I'm one of the people that's like, yeah, because you didn't woke me up out of my sleep because you didn't bop me. I ain't really signed up for that. But I'm getting bopped. So these are some of the expectations, like the snoring, the farting, the getting hit right in the sleep. I'm not talking about like on purpose. No, I'm not talking about that. But in your sleep, you know, him leaving the toilet seat up, or not closing the door all the way on the refrigerator, or leaving the butter out. These are all the things that you start to realize and know truly who your spouse is. So any of the expectations that you can think of prior to you guys saying I do, and this is not going to be the same if you guys have long distance relationship and you see each other a couple times a month, or maybe you're spending a month together and then you go off back to your life because you got to pay bills and all that other stuff, and then you guys see each other in the next couple months. No, it's not the same. It's not the same. We all can be somebody that we are not for a short period of time. This person really shows up, and you really show who you are to your spouse when you live with them. And literally it's after you say I do, because for some reason, as I mentioned before, as soon as you say those words I do, it's just something that switches. It's the trigger. Something flips. It changes. Okay. And change does not have to be a bad thing. So don't misinterpret what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be a bad thing, but it does change. It is not the same when you are dating. It is not the same when you are engaged. And I'm telling you, it's still not the same whether you guys have lived together prior to you saying I do or not. Please understand that. After you say I do, it changes. The game just got more serious after I said I do. My responsibilities have now increased now that I said I do. Now I really do have to take care of you and be responsible for everything that I do, because now I have... You know what? When I'm outside of the house, I am representing you. When you're outside of the house, you're representing me. It's something that makes it that much more serious to most people. Most people don't get the seriousness of being in a relationship until you say, I do. Please understand that. The expectations will not automatically just match up. You guys have to super communicate, talk, ask questions, and truly get to know who you laying in the bed next to. Okay? Burps and farts and all. Okay. The next thing, I kind of mentioned it briefly, which is your spouse will automatically know what to do to make you happy specifically. No. So I talked to you guys about the 5 love languages multiple times. Here I'm bringing it up. This is not the end all be all, but it is something that's very important, because with the 5 love languages, if you know your partner's top 3 and you are showing up and showing them love in that way, then trust me, you will make your spouse happy. Number 1, you have to know what these 3 are. Number 2, you have to actually put these things into action, because just knowing about it and doing something about it are 2 different things. And research actually shows that those spouses, those couples that are actually practicing the top 3 in their relationship, meaning it's being reciprocated, he's doing it and she's doing it, are the happiest couples out there. So if you don't know what the 5 love languages are, period, they are physical touch, acts of service. I always miss one. So physical touch, acts of service. How come I can't never remember on the spot? Let's see. This is a real and raw moment because I'm not editing this out. What else are? I say them all the time and now I can't think of them because I put myself on the spot. Somebody comment down below what the other 3 are, because I just can't think right now because my mind wasn't there. But here's the thing. Even if you're the very first person to watch this and you do not know what I'm talking about, Google the 5 love languages. They will absolutely pop up. Learn what your spouse's love language is, and then practice those things. If you guys have not taken this quiz, take it. Both of you take it separately, discuss it together, and that way you know how to create happiness for your spouse within the relationship. Now, Let me back up and say that happiness absolutely is a choice too. So your partner cannot be the one that's responsible for making you happy, but they can add to your happiness. And this is where the 5 love languages come into play. They're adding to your happiness. But if you're a sourpuss person and your spouse is still implementing and showing the actions behind the 3 that are your top 3, and you're still a sourpuss, that's because you're choosing to be a sourpuss. That has nothing to do with your partner not partaking or not doing what he or she needs to do in order for you to be happy. Okay? So just know that. But to add to your happiness, find out what each other's 5 love languages are. Find out what each other's top 3 love languages are and implement them, practice them, put them into play, bring them into your relationship so you guys can also experience blissful happiness within your relationship. Point number 4. Some people get this twisted. This is totally a myth in marriages, which is the universal pathway to happiness within your marriage is through having children. That's absolutely not true for every couple. Every couple out here does not want to have children. So that does not have to be your destiny. It does not have to be your path. If you guys want children, that's one thing. But if you guys are saying, well, I don't know what everybody else is going to say, or you're scared to tell people that you guys just don't want children because you don't want them, that's your right. So in order for your relationship, in order for your marriage to be a real marriage, you have to procreate. That's just not true. It's just not true. So having children is not the universal path to marriage. That totally is a myth. Number 5, being in a relationship with someone that you love is always going to be easy. Myth, myth, myth. Yes, you guys do love each other. Yes, you guys do want the best for one another. But that does not always mean that everything you guys talk about, everything you guys are discussing is going to match up. Even the things that you actually do and how you guys would handle certain situations are not going to match up. Why? Because you two are 2 different people. You have 2 different minds. You've been doing things 2 different ways before you guys got together. Now all of a sudden, just because you guys are together, now you're supposed to match up with everything. That's just unrealistic, sis. That's unrealistic, bruh. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do it to yourself. So just because you guys are in a relationship, it does not mean that just because you love them, let me put it that way. Just because you love them does not mean it's always going to be easy to love your spouse. I mean, literally, can I keep it all the way real with you? If you've gotten this far in the video, then I can keep it all the way real with you, which is to tell you that I literally been wanting to punch my husband in the face. Yes, I said it. I did because he is such a stubborn man. I love him. I love him dearly. But he can be such a stubborn man off the littlest things that I don't even think that you should be trying to prove points on. Okay? So I'm keeping it all the way real. I'm not happy with him in this moment. So depending on when you're watching this video, I might be happy again. But today, I want to punch him in the face. And I'm laughing because I'm never going to punch him in the face. We don't even do none of that. But here, because you my people, I can share this with you. I can be all the way real with you. Sometimes it's not easy after you say I do and before you say I do, okay? But again, it's something about I do and the responsibility and how it goes way up here. Okay, let me get off the camera. Right. How it goes way up here. Sometimes it just ain't easy, y'all. Sometimes it just ain't easy to love your spouse. But that don't mean that you stop loving your spouse, because literally loving your spouse really is a choice each and every day. I didn't say you always going to be happy with them. I didn't say you always going to be happy with their behavior. I didn't say that you always going to be happy with how they show up, how they answer you, how they treat you. They could have did this better, could have did that better, could have said this better, could have just chilled out, could have not said anything, could have walked away. Listen, it's going to be a lot of that. But that's all about the growth. And I'm really laughing because the relationship expert, me, sometimes need to hear her own words. And that's where I'm at. In this moment in my relationship, I need to hear my own words because I am one of the relationship experts out here, relationship strategists out here that actually practices what she preaches because I believe in that. I don't want to be a public success and a private failure. Or trying to live two double lives. I'm out here saying that it's all good. This is what you got to do. This is what you got to do. And then behind closed doors, I'm acting a damn fool in my own relationship. I don't do that. Some people do. I just don't. Okay? So I'm not the happiest right now in my relationship. And again, if you made it this far, then I can share that with you. Okay? Number 6. Oh, this is another one because it actually goes into the last one, really. Really, it does. You two will always feel in love with one another. No, you won't. The relationship ebbs and flows. It ebbs and flows. Some days you're going to be like, oh my God, that's my boo. And other days you're going to be like, oh, you so ugly. You're going to be feeling like, oh, I do not like this sucker right now. And yes, they're going to be a sucker. You're going to be ready to listen. You're going to be ready to lay hands on them. I don't recommend that. Y'all know I be joking when I be saying that. But you might feel that way, though. Love is not the thing you're going to be feeling when you talking about laying hands. Okay. And again, I'm laughing because seriously, when I said these past 2 weeks, I am not happy with my husband. And he has not been happy with me. And we both can be a bit stubborn. This time it ain't me, though. Anywho. Number 7. And I can attest to number 7 as well because I'm in this, which is the first few years of the marriage will be the best, will be the easiest. Actually, can I just be real with you again? It's not. So literally, well, that's my own personal, but it's also research backs it up that for most relationships, for most marriages, after you get past years 7 and 8 is when the relationship you really feel your happiest. So if you can make it past and make it through 7 and 8, because you've actually learned one another, you've been able to learn how to communicate with one another. You guys have actually said, okay, you know what? I don't have to address that, right? Because it's not that serious. Like the things that were serious in the beginning. By year 7, 8, 9, 10, don't be that same seriousness. It don't have the same seriousness to it. And I can't wait to get there. I'm just saying, y'all. I'm just saying. Sometimes you don't feel happy. Sometimes you want to throw in a towel. Sometimes you want to punch him in the face. Again, don't recommend that because I don't do abuse. However, just know that if you guys can pull through, if you can continue to communicate with one another, if you can listen, be mad, and then be ready to talk about it, have a conversation about it. That's the communication. Come up with a solution. Could even be a compromise thrown in there. And then be able to move on. And don't bring up the past after you guys have moved past it. Forgive, forget, move on, grow together. That's what it's all about. So these are my 7 marital myths. And totally, they are myths. They are. But you will be okay if you hold in there, if you stick in there, if you guys hang in there together and fight for the relationship. Because there are going to be times that you have to fight to stay in your marriage. It's easier to walk away. It's easier to say, you know what, I don't want this shit. It's easier to say, I'm going to go over here where the grass is greener. Because it usually ain't greener, though. Anyway, y'all, I will talk to you guys later. Love you guys. Thanks for listening. You be all right. I'll be all right. Like I said, this was a video that I needed to hear myself, which is why I made it, because I'm sure some people out there need to hear it as well. Talk to you guys very soon. Deuces.